to a post-Mardi Gras edition of Louisiana vs. All Y'all's Recruit That Boot. We apologize for breaking into your daily dose of viral Shia LaBeouf news, but we wanted to talk about some top Louisiana football prospects around the state, both some really familiar names, including one guy who's about to be heading to LSU, winning another state championship in another sport. We've got some young guys picking up some major offers early in their recruiting process, and Sam is gearing up for Rivals camp in Houston this week, where we'll see a lot of Louisiana guys out there. And so, again, appreciate you guys taking a break for about 20 minutes and all the Shia LaBeouf news coming out of Mardi Gras, because we're excited to talk about some football. Sam, how we doing, my man?
Just surviving, as you and I just discussed off air. You're just surviving, and time is ticking, but it's not moving fast. It's not moving slow. It's just ticking, Jarrett.
We're on the heels, as we just kind of get right into it, of indoor state track championships. And so we can talk a little bit about just track in the offseason for football guys in general. But I mentioned a new state championship for a guy who we've talked about an awful lot on this show through the last couple of years. But Lamar Brown repeats as the indoor shot put champion. He had won it last year. He also had won the discus outdoor last year, the shot put the year before. And I know it's something he takes a lot of pride in his offseason, to go over there to LSU the last few years and win some state championships in another sport. He's kind of a headliner. We'll get into it in a second and list a couple of other notable football names that won some titles. But when you see guys like Lamar Brown, top prospect in the state in the 2026 class, and some of the things he's able to do in events like the shot put in the discus, and obviously guys go over there and run some great times on the track as well. What is kind of your biggest takeaway to see him kind of adding to his resume off the football field every winter and every spring?
Yeah, I think LSU fans, I think Lamar Brown, I think, LSU wishes that Lamar Brown might be on campus right now, getting in the weight room and getting ready to, compete for snaps as a true freshman in Baton Rouge. But this is phenomenal. It just goes to demonstrate the point of when you're thinking about the recruiting process, or how these ranking services like Rivals or 24/7 or ESPN evaluates prospects. You're looking at not just the football, though it is obviously a massive part, is what you do on the field. But when you're looking at measurables and your ability to perform in other sports and do so at such a exceptional level, in the case of Lamar Brown, who, like you said, not only shot put but discus in the past, his resume is absolutely elite. He has been a top performer at various national events. He obviously has had the attention of every high school coach in the state when they played U-High. And additionally, what he's done as a track athlete has also been phenomenal. We talk about him as a prospect that he could be a potential first-round pick playing along the offensive line, but he is going to give defensive lines a shot. Obviously, it is a more premium position, depending on who you ask. And his ability to be so phenomenal in both regards and also different sports is it just goes to kind of cement his status as one of those as surefire bets as you can see as a high school prospect going into Saturdays.
And for young guys or parents that are trying to figure out what to do with your off season, and obviously there's a lot of emphasis on the camp circuit and 7-on-7 and all of those things, I think getting involved in track is such a beneficial opportunity of how to use your time the rest of your school year. And we see the ways that college coaches watch that. We're about to talk about a young man who's an 8th grader who picked up an LSU offer here recently. We saw Easton Royal really blow up on the heels of some great track times last spring. And so there's a lot to take from it. We talked about it going into Louisiana vs. All Y'all Elite Camp a couple weeks ago on the track specifically. Verified speed, whether that's getting to college camps and clocking 40s, or getting on a track and clocking some great 100-meter times, or 60 meters in the indoor, can be hugely beneficial to your overall recruiting profile and just kind of confirming some things that coaches want to see. Obviously, Lamar doesn't have a whole lot left that he needs to confirm to some coaches. He's been a top prospect on a national scale for quite a while, but for him in that shot put in particular, continuing in the offseason to, in a different way, work on some of that footwork and balance and that power that he brings to those events, I think there's certainly an awful lot to take from, development for younger guys, as well as what it can continue to showcase for these older guys.
No question. Never specialize. I mean, you see some of these top quarterback prospects that are also fantastic baseball players. Quinn Ewers played both sports. It's good whether it's football, football and basketball, football and baseball, football and track, whatever your sport. Don't stop playing multiple sports. Don't specialize. Um, and yeah, well-rounded athletes that play multiple sports tend to be better on the football field down the stretch, according to analytics.
Lamar won the Division II state championship in indoor. Another guy worth noting for folks, Carter Rivette up at Alexandria, 2028 guy who is an elite track athlete. He became the first Louisiana athlete in a Louisiana indoor state championship meet to surpass that 60-foot mark in shot put. He won the Division I state championship in shot put. He started on that offensive line for Alexandria this fall. He's going to move over the defensive side where he'll start as a junior this fall. And so the list kind of goes on. I have more complete list of top performers over at Prep Red Zone Louisiana, but mentioning a couple of them, Damian Richard from Destrehan, the Louisiana Tech signee, won the long jump and triple jump in Division I. Division II, Taven Carter, a junior running back from Delhi Charter, had a great weekend, had the top triple jump and long jump marks. And so he's someone that maybe not as high on the radar as a Lamar or a Damian Richard, but someone that maybe has a chance to kind of make a name for himself a little bit here with some great track results. Speaking of which, some good numbers in the 60-meter dash, 60-meter hurdles, the 400-meter run. One that I wanted to shout out that we're certainly familiar with, a notable football name, Jair Burks, the 2027 wide receiver from Jesuit, who posted a 7.88 60-meter hurdle time, which is the best from anywhere in the country this high school indoor season. And so he, a guy that loves him some football, has picked up some offers at the FBS level, continues to establish himself as one of the elite hurdlers in the country every winter and every spring.
No doubt.
So let's kind of get straight from that, talk about some of these young guys. I mentioned there's three guys we're going to point out here that picked up some recent offers. A 2028 running back from Lafayette Christian, Caden Bellard, who picked up the LSU offer that really kind of opened a lot of eyes for him. He's continued to gain steam on the recruiting trail. TCU, I think, is the most recent in the last couple of days, but as fast as it's kind of taking off for him, may miss one. Speaking of multi-sport guys, he's also a basketball guy, getting ready to tip off the basketball playoffs for his LCA Knights basketball team. Branson Hudson, the 2030 athlete from up there at Ruston, the younger brother of Ahmad Hudson, similar to Ahmad, a basketball and football guy. He picked up LSU recently. Syracuse followed that. He's got a few offers already as a 2030 guy. And then the young man we alluded to a minute ago, also up there in Northeast Louisiana in the West Monroe area, you have RJ West, who just burned a 10,500 meter time as an 8th grader, has posted some great 60-meter times as well, and LSU made a move on him, and now he's kind of off to the races, no pun intended, in terms of his recruiting process. So I don't know which one of those guys you want to start with, but let's kind of take each of them separately and give them their time. Dealer's choice. Which guy do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, let's talk about Caden Bullard. Obviously, it's an in-state offer for the 2028 class. He's from LCA, which has been a funnel to LSU over the years with some fantastic prospects that most recently Brayton Allen, who was a 4-star wide receiver from LCA. Kevin, I believe it's their first in-state 2028, at least to a running back.
With Joe Sloan and company still there, they had offered obviously Calvin Urson, who LSU remains pretty heavy on, but I think this is the first 2028 offer period in state other than Calvin, and obviously with the new staff, and then at the running back position, the first overall.
Right, which says a lot. I haven't seen Caden in person just yet. I'm super excited to whether it'll be at Rivals Camp in a few weeks or potentially in New Orleans, but has speed, has vision, has been a driving force of that LCA offense. Along with that, obviously, that fantastic passing game that they had last year, and we know that at LCA they love offensive prospects with speed. We love his ability to obviously break around the bend and create big plays, which he does all the time at LCA. Kevin Smith and Lane Kiffin wasting no time getting to the punch, which speaks volumes.
He had a great sophomore season. Obviously, I mean, we've talked about Braden Allen, who's going to be in this LSU class, Braylon Walker, the quarterback, a dynamic athlete for those guys. This fall, he's going to be a DB for the Cajuns here as part of this 2026 signing class. Caden ended up, I mean, an all-state guy with 1,500 yards and 21 touchdowns. And you saw a lot of what he was able to do as a compliment to Braylon Walker in the run game. He's been great so far this 7-on-7 season. Had a chance to see a little bit of him a couple weeks ago. Have seen some of his clips as well, but him getting out there, running around, running some routes and really looking comfortable and confident catching the football as a receiver for that fourth quarter mentality team. He's doing some great things. Again, making the most of his year-round opportunities and going out there and showcasing different pieces of his athleticism. And again, he and the Knights basketball team tip off here this week for the playoffs. Let's go, I guess, from him to, going back a little bit. It's been a month now since Branson Hudson picked up that LSU offer, but Ahmad Hudson's little brother, who will very quickly tell you, yeah, Ahmad's great. I'm going to be better than Ahmad when it's my time. And so not lacking for confidence as a young standout there for the Bearcats. He's the first 2030 offer, I believe, certainly in state for LSU. And now Nebraska, LSU, and Syracuse have all made the move. What do we know so far about the next Hudson up?
Yeah, well, this is a legacy offer, so this is the one you want to get in early. This is obviously Ahmad Hudson has not signed anywhere yet, even though we can obviously report that Nebraska is currently recruiting him maybe the hardest, maybe probably at or near the top of his recruitment, kind of steadily in this recruitment, and will be until he makes his decision on July 4th. But LSU is not going anywhere, and I think that's a substantial sign. We've reported that Joe Cox and Lane Kiffin have had multiple conversations, even when they were transitioning from Ole Miss to LSU. They had him in Oxford in that November, just before Lane Kiffin made that decision. That relationship remains intact, and you can tell that dialogue is continuing between the entire Hudson family and LSU. Branson, obviously we're all excited to see. His brother is pretty special. There'll be some big, substantial footsteps to follow, but I think that LSU is going to have a shot with both of these Hudson boys.
And the most recent, RJ West Jr., again, I mentioned up there in the West Monroe area, he's given me kind of flashbacks of going up to Monroe and hearing so many stories about the Brady James dynamic, because on his Twitter, he's got the West Monroe profile picture with the Wassman team picture behind him as the cover photo. And so I know folks up there are talking heavily about that, but folks all over the state and all over the country are talking about this 10.5 100-meter time. He's posted a 7.1 60-meter. And so LSU made the move with him here recently, a huge one. And, it's important to note we have some other young guys around the state that are starting to gain some traction. But in terms of LSU level guys, these are three really notable ones in the 2028 class and for Branson and RJ in that 2030 class. What do you know so far about RJ West and how insane is a 10.500 from an eighth grader?
I don't need to know anything else other than he runs a 10.5 in the eighth grade, and that's pretty special. He's going to be one of the fastest prospects in America. I can already promise you that's rare to have that level of speed. I love that LSU is wasting no time. I mean, it's definitely a different attempt from a different strategy than you would say under not only the last staff, which was as timely as any. Brian Kelly and Frank Wilson really obviously leading behind the scenes. I think that they really jumped it. You think about offering guys like Jabari Mack would be a notable in-state offer that they timed correct. The same with Philip Wright is another good example. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm leaning toward the Destrahan boys here, but Ed Orgeron and his staff also made progress. Les Miles was the most conservative when it came with offers, and Lane Kiffin is almost the complete opposite. But they've been that way. So is Billy Glasgow. So is Lane Kiffin. When they were at Ole Miss, that you could talk to Pop Houston, whose first offer came from Ole Miss in the eighth grade. They see it and they don't waste any time. We haven't seen a case where a committable offer wasn't committable anymore in LSU. Obviously, they've only been there for a few weeks, but that's the only way that it can really ever bite you in the butt. And in the NIL era, where you can sign as many high school prospects as you want, there's no downside to me about offering someone with 10.5 speed in the 8th grade and hoping that pans out okay.
I'm glad you mentioned the big picture significance of just seeing LSU doling out a couple of offers this early. It's not something we maybe haven't seen entirely. Obviously, I mean, Jakeem Stewart, Lamar Brown, those are guys that picked up LSU offers before their freshman years of high school, but it has been rare, and it has been particularly rare in recent years where some of those guys you mentioned, or quite frankly, Branson's older brother, Ahmad, with an early offer from LSU, that the early offer from LSU in recent years has not been as an 8th grader. It's been, sophomore year, essentially. And so it's pretty significant to see now 2 guys around the state as 8th graders posting some of those LSU offers, and does kind of follow some of the trend of what we'd seen from Lane Kiffin and company out there during their time in Oxford to be the first offer for a lot of Louisiana guys through the years, to be the first major offer, at least for a lot of Louisiana guys through the years.
Yeah, we're going to have to see the trajectory of how this plays out from start to finish. But like I said, I think it's a different play on what we've seen in the past. I'm excited to see how it works, because I think in today's day and age, thinking about Jamar's recruitment, about getting the late offer, or even going, there's just so many horror stories of how this has turned out for LSU. Is, don't rewrite history. Don't keep doing things the same way and expect different results. Try to shake things up. And I think this is a new age, more modern approach.
There you go. I actually came into this conversation thinking we'd get into a little of the Rivals preview, because my mental calendar is just all over the map. And so I was thinking you were going to be heading out to Houston here in a couple of days, but we have another week before we get into March. I'm glad I didn't miss my little brother's birthday. Happy early birthday, Josh, on February 28th. We'll go grab some crawfish on Sunday. But do you have anything that you want to say, just kind of the early look at some guys from Louisiana that are going to come be a part of this thing in Houston next weekend, and we can talk more about it in particular, a week from now as we get closer to it?
Yes. But I'd have to get that data from a spreadsheet that I don't have in front of me. So I'm going to have to take a rain check on that, Big J.
Yeah, we'll wait and go more in depth and in detail next week. There will certainly be a lot of Louisiana guys out in Houston for that March 7th weekend. March 6th and 7th, I get. Is it 6, 7? Okay. I thought you were going to get a 6, 7 there to end it.
I know you were pushing for it.
But we'll talk more about that next week. Obviously, good to be back on this after another week away, tearing up the streets of New Orleans with the former Lewis Stevens of Even Stevens fame, and looking forward to now being on a more regular routine again, heading into this offseason ramping up. There's a lot to look forward to, including that Rivals camp to begin March and beyond as things really, really heat up. Sam, appreciate you, man. Go get back to dad life.
Yeah, glad you and Shia survived, and maybe our loyal 7 listeners, our loyal 6 or 7 listeners.
There you go.
I don't even have TikToks, which is it's incredible that I don't understand it, but I know it. Maybe we'll tell them that when we're both in Louisiana in a few weeks, we might be having a live podcast as we visit a couple top prospects around the state. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Again, he's Sam Spiegelman. I'm Jet Roser. This is Louisiana versus all y'all's Recruit That Boot. And until next time and a closer look at that upcoming Rivals camp, y'all be well. We'll be back next week.